Hello, in this video we're going to cover everything there's need to be known about the smart bidding within Google Ads. So let's start. First of all, what is smart bidding? Smart bidding is the system that Google uses based on many signals to determine how much to bid for the right users and the right conversions. It uses real-time data in order for you to get the best results possible. Here, how it works. Overall, Google takes a few different factors into consideration. For example, the max CPC, meaning how much are you willing to pay per each click. Also, the quality score of your ads. The higher the quality score, the more likely Google will position your ad above the competition. I mean, it's not only how much you bid for a specific keyword, let's say, but also how much Google think it will be of quality for the user to actually land on your landing page. Also, the ad rank, which is a combination of the two other factors that I just mentioned, and the context or where the user is actually looking for, because it could be the location, the hour of the day, if it's on desktop or mobile. So it takes all of these different factors, and based on that, they bid higher or lower depending on the intent of the user. For smart bidding, there are two main ones. The maximize conversions, meaning that it tries to get as much volume as possible of the set conversion that we want to achieve, if it's either purchases, leads, calls, whichever it is, but the more volume of conversions. And in this case, we have maximized conversions, that is just the max number of conversions that we want to get, and target CPA, which is similar to the previous one. We just give it how much are we willing to pay for each conversion. And the revenue focus one, meaning that it might sacrifice a bit of volume, but the actual conversions that they track, they have more value to the business. In this case, we have maximize conversion value, which is similar to maximize conversions. It just focuses on getting as much value as possible. And target ROAS, meaning that we want to achieve a set amount of efficiency with the campaign. Let's say we want the campaigns to have a ROAS of 2, so we set up on 200% of the campaigns. We will go over it later on, but we have these two ones. One's focusing on conversions, and another one focuses on revenue. What are the benefits of using smart bidding versus, let's say, manual CPC? It uses more signals to give more context to the actual algorithm to try to get the best users on your landing page. It has real-time data, so it can be higher or lower depending on the time of day, on the signals on the device. And it actually offers some simulators and reports based on the forecast that you can get, something that you can actually do with manual CPC. Here we can see the difference between all of them. Manual CPC, it's when we actually set up how much are we willing to bid for each keyword, and it's, let's say, written in stone, because it can change. Let's say we want to bid €1 for set keyword, it will always bid that much for set keyword. It doesn't depend on the time, on the user, on the device it's on. It's only taking into account that number. The automated biddings, which usually people tend to mix up with the smart bidding ones, are more for brand awareness or getting clicks. Automated can be either maximize clicks, meaning that we set up how much we want to pay for each click, and we just want to bring more traffic. Usually, more traffic doesn't mean more conversions. However, this limits the campaigns a bit more, because we're getting volume of clicks, which, as I mentioned before, it doesn't usually translate to more conversions. Also here, we would have target impression share, meaning that we want to cover set amount of the searches of set keyword. Let's say we want to cover 90% of all the branded searches. It doesn't matter who is looking for it, when, where. We want to cover all of them. So we would put that type of bid strategy. And the ones that we're covering right now, that are the smart bidding ones, they focus on conversions and revenue. And as I mentioned, they have all the real-time data to actually get the results done. What's the, let's say, limitation of it is that it needs more data in order to work. So let's go to how to set up or review the smart bidding campaigns within a Google Ads campaign. If we go to Google, there's an ad part that's called bidding, and you will see all of them. As I mentioned, the smart bidding ones, the top two, the one that says conversions and conversion value. Let's say, for example, conversions. And right now, how it is, it would be maximize conversion, meaning that it will track all of the conversions, getting more conversions. It doesn't matter if at what price does it get it, you just need more volume. However, if we want to go to from maximize conversion to target CPA, we'll click on this and set a target cost per acquisition and set up the target CPA, meaning how much are we willing to pay to get set conversion. Something that it's important here is that we need to set up realistic CPAs because let's say if the campaign in the last 30 days it's getting a CPA of 5 euros and we put here 2 euros, the campaign won't actually get the results because it will most likely limit itself because it's not being able to get that actual CPA. So the idea is to little by little start reducing from the actual CPA that we're getting. For conversion value, it's pretty much similar. If we don't set up anything, it would be maximize conversion value, meaning that we get the most value from the campaigns because let's say we're on an e-commerce store and there's a t-shirt that costs 10 euros and a pants that costs 50 euros. If we would be on maximize conversion, they could be tracking three sales of the t-shirt, which would account for three conversions, but the value would be less as it would be 30. Instead, if we get the pants, we get one sale, which is just one conversion, but the actual revenue would be more because it would be 50. So this takes into account a bit more the actual business side and how much revenue it's getting. And if we click here on set target return on ad spend, it's target ROAS, meaning how much we want to make from this campaign. Similar to the target CPA, the idea is to take the last 30 days, see how much is the average that we're getting, and based on that, start adjusting to increase, in this case, the ROAS. Once it's set up, we just click save, and it would be done. Finally, the best practices or the recommendations for bid strategies are that they need actual data, actual conversions to be able to work properly, meaning that if the conversion tracking is not set up properly, the bid strategy won't have as much information to actually get the insights at work. Also, something that people tend to do a lot, it's just to adjust too much or too often the bid strategy, which actually is hurting the performance more than actually of being of benefit. Usually it takes from 2 to 4 weeks to stabilize and get better results. So if let's say we're adjusting the target CPA every day or the target ROAS every day, the campaign would be always in that learning period and won't actually be as efficient as it could be if we just leave it alone. Also, the idea here is to always monitor the CPA and the ROAS because let's say on December the sales for an e-commerce store increases, the ROAS would increase, but if we keep the same ROAS that we were having on December on January, most likely the campaigns will actually be limited because we're asking for more of our ROAS than the actual one that we're getting. So it's always good to always review the CPA and the ROAS that we're getting. We usually recommend always reviewing last 30 days and last 14. 7 it's too close, so those two time frames should be okay to actually view. And as I mentioned, the most common mistake is just adjusting too often, setting the unrealistic targets that will actually limit the campaign instead of being beneficial, and having different type of campaigns combined. For example, branded searches with generic, so the return of investment from one type of campaign could be higher than the other one and it could be limited, stuff like that. It's always good to have them separated in this case.